Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome to episode of Dude, You Never Told Me, a podcast about three best friends trying to entertain each other from a mile apart. I'm your host, Anthony. With me are my two best friends. We got Alex.
What's up, guys? So these bozo has decided to. We were gonna film an episode in the middle of my fantasy football draft. Come on, guys.
Oh yeah. How's that look?
I'm trying to draft for my dynasty here.
I guess it makes sense that it happens after the NFL draft. So it makes sense. Anyways, on the other end, we got Devante.
I'm a bozo that's distracting Alex from his
Bozo.
NFL draft.
These bozos.
Bozos.
A bozo.
Yes.
That's like that word. That's a funny word. Bozo. Where'd that word come from?
Bozo. I got that from your brother.
Oh, no wonder I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Bozo.
Actually,
All right.
actually, it's funny we bring him up. I got to see him today.
Nice. Is he part of your draft? Your fantasy
No, he's
league?
not part of my draft. No,
Sad.
his Devante's brother and my brother, they decided to get together at my house. They chilled there for a little bit. They went out shopping, came back. Had a good
Does
time.
it sound like they hang out more than y'all two hang out?
That's some brotherly love right there. Yeah, but they have different
Different schedules
responsibilities in their life.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're in different parts of their
I mean,
life too.
Y'all are also in different cities, so it's not as easy meeting
That's
up
true.
Too.
on a normal weekday.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get into our show.
So, have you guys ever heard of the restaurant Carbone?
No.
It's like it's like
Yeah,
a
tell me more.
Italian restaurant, I believe, that's in New York, but they also have it in DFW. I don't know if they have it in
Oh.
Austin or not, but it's a very famous or quote unquote famous restaurant that a lot of people supposedly like. And so me and Wakana went there for her birthday a couple years back.
Mhm.
And when we went there, the hype is there. Like even Drake talked about it, like Drake.
Ooh, okay.
And so everybody's saying this place is so good, the service, all this, hyping it up. Every restaurant reviews like, let me take you to Carbone. And then,
Look it up.
everything's luxury, fancy. Yeah, look it up, man. And so we decided to go for Wakana's birthday. So we go there, we had a reservation, blah, 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 yada, yada. We get there, we get seated, and it's like, Wakana's birthday's in July. And so it's kind of hot. It's the summer. And they have this outdoor patio that's like covered. And so we sit out there. So number one, they seat us at the table that's in front of the fan. Like there's this huge
Oh,
fan.
okay.
And it's just blasting, bro. And I'm like,
That's a crime.
here of all places, like, come on, dude.
That's a crime, yeah.
And then second,
Oh no.
right? We're ordering, and I order, and then the guy comes back. Our server comes back, and he's like, "Sir, we're out of what you've ordered." And I'm like, "You guys just opened."
What time in the day did you go?
We went at like 6.
Oh,
Like right, yeah. It's
how
like
did they run out?
exactly. And
What the
then
Means they didn't
not
have any
only
food.
that, not only did they run out of my order,
Oh, no.
I went out of my way. I was like, okay, I don't know what else is good here. So I asked the server, hey, what would
Oh,
you recommend?
no.
So he
Oh, no.
recommends me this dish. I don't know the price. It just sounds really good. That
Oh
man comes
no.
out.
He
Yeah.
upscaled you, didn't he?
And I'm like, come on, he's a brother. Like I'm like, how you gonna do that to a brother, man? Like, come on, dog.
You don't
That
see
man
his
said, "I don't care."
You don't
He said,
send us
"I just need some
paychecks.
cash."
I know I should have just kept looking at the menu. And so he comes back and it's like I don't know, I can't remember what the name of the dish is, but it's where it's a fillet of fish with the bones that's in it, and then they take off like they debone it in front of you.
Okay.
So it's a whole presentation, it's a whole scene.
I see why you.
Yeah, and
God.
I was like, okay, this is kind of nice. And then I eat it and I'm like, oh, this is normal. I can make this at home, bro. And so it's already we're sitting in front of this loud fan. It's hot already. This loud fan. This guy's already upscaled and charged me. Like, and then on top of that, the service was bad. That guy only came around once. Like, and that was just to take the order. And then maybe the second time was to give us a check. Like, not even to
Okay.
refill, not even to ask us how we're
You're
doing.
comfortable with sharing. I gotta know.
Like
was the
nothing,
tip?
dude. Like this guy, I did not want to leave a good tip personally because I was like, brother,
I don't
you
blame you.
upscaled me, you upcharged me,
Upsold me. Yeah. Was
and
Wakana's
you
food good?
say again.
Was Wakana's food good?
No, she didn't like it.
Oh,
She thought it was normal. Like
yikes.
we could have had
This
this
is
anywhere else.
average.
Yeah, it was just an average
Yikes.
place.
Oh
And this is just
no.
our first time going there. And after hearing all the hype and everybody talking so good about it, and then we go there and we're like, dang, this is not it. And so
Remind me the name of this place.
Carbone.
Do
Now,
not sponsor us, Carbone. We're good. We're
now
good.
don't get me wrong. Maybe y'all can go and y'all might have a better experience. And so this leads into my topic of first impressions. So I used a restaurant, but I'd like
Mm,
to talk about people.
people. Okay.
So
People.
are first impressions as important as you think they are?
Oh,
Or,
Sounds
absolutely.
kind of like my rookie
Absolutely.
draft.
but in what occasions, what circumstances? And I want to get into the nitty gritty of it. Like, I want to know to what extent is there redeemable first impressions? You know, like, can that person redeem if you didn't like them? What was that? And
Boom.
that's what you should have started off with.
Sorry.
But
What can I
you know,
say?
this so I want to ask you guys, do first impressions matter too much?
Mm. I feel like first impressions are really important. I think it's a different aspect. It's like a different, I don't know, aspect. It's different ways. First persons answer your question. Yes, they're very, very important.
Okay.
You know, especially when you come to like meeting someone for the very first time. Even from like a like, let's take it from a dating context where it matters a lot. Whenever you meet someone for the first time on like a date, you got set up on a blind date. You gotta make a good first impression. Otherwise, they're
Right.
not gonna want to go on another date with you. That's
Okay. So
that makes sense. That's
let's
true.
keep it on the dating for now,
Sure.
for the
Yeah.
setting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
because there's other settings I want to talk
There's
about.
less
So
things too.
you
100%.
yeah,
100%.
you've hit the first one. So it'd be dating, right?
Yeah.
I think it's also important for dating, but to what extent are you going to show your cards, your deal? You know, like are you full out Anthony during the first date? Like, I'm Anthony. I played Magic the Gathering. I have a full time job. I got a house. Like,
Well,
to what
definitely
extent?
selling my full time job.
Like, to what
I
extent is
probably,
a cutoff of a
I
first
think
impression?
for first impressions, I want to convey that I'm an interesting person. You know, I want to convey that like I do have other hobbies. I have a good job. You know, solid. You know, personal life and that kind of stuff. But I don't think I'd go that deep. You know, like as you know me, I do have like walls. Like you know, oh, you can get surface level Anthony for sure, but like it'll take a while for you to get to like really deep Anthony. You know, I think when I think the good example is actually how I met my wife. Like we were normally just casually friends. We didn't know each other that much, but then we went out and we had a really deep conversation, and that's how we became like super super close. And that conversation, you know, I saw how amazing how like how worldly she is and how thoughtful she is, how caring she is. And then we did like the ask me anything. We literally just ask each other questions, get to know each other, and that's how we really broke through all that like awkward like icebreaker conversation. We just say, hey, we're just gonna ask any question we want and be honest with each other, and that's how he sold it. But I think if we had a bad conversation, I don't like. I've gone on dates where like we had no conversation, no chemistry, and like
Mm,
after that day, like I don't want another one because that's really really it was awkward.
yeah.
Like there's so many awkward pauses. It's not what I'm looking for.
But do you think that's because, oh, I'm nervous? You know, like, are you okay with somebody on their first impression, like coming back and saying, like I couldn't be myself because I don't know
Mm,
you, or I felt nervous around you, or like
yeah.
things
I
of
think
that
that's
nature.
fine. I think when at least in the dating world and even maybe in the professional context world too, it's like maybe I see it as like on a scale. Like you can do one thing that makes you a good first impression, you can do something that has a bad first impression. But as long as the good first impressions outweigh the bad impressions, then I'm going to give you another shot. Because yeah, I understand it's awkward. Like during interviews, right? I don't know if you ever done technical interviews with
Wait,
people.
wait. Don't go to the interview. Let's stay on the dating for now. Oh,
But it's
that's a
just
whole
it's all
different
about
one.
like it's all about context. Like you talk about being nervous about someone, but like for me, maybe because I'm so far detached from the dating because I've been with my wife for 10 years now.
Yeah.
But like when I do first impressions, like think about like a technical interview. It's like they're always super nervous, and so whenever after the post interview, I'm talking with my coworkers about, oh, how did this person do? We always preface that if they didn't do well in like the coding portion of it, that's okay because they're just nervous and maybe they're not used to doing a certain way. So we give them that credit. But like that's one strike on the not good side. But if they were good communicators, if they seemed to be very knowledgeable in the code base, then like yeah, that's two plus. So that two plus one minus is still plus.
Mm.
So that's kind of how I take it for like dating as well. Just like if we had awkward moments, sure, but if we like there are conversations that were good, were really, really, really good, that might offset some of the more awkward moments or like we just don't know what to talk about.
Mm. How about you,
Okay.
Alex? For dating,
In,
I know it's
in
been
the
a minute for
dating
all three
realm,
of us.
man.
Back to when you first met your wife.
Yeah,
What was first
you had a lot of
impressions?
dates back in the day, so I'm sure first
I
impressions were
think
somewhere there.
I've got a pretty interesting story for y'all.
All
So
right.
for my first impression, actually with my wife, um, you guys, I believe you know this story, but with my wife, when I first met her, she was not my girlfriend. She was not my friend. She was actually a girl that my friend was interested in.
Mm,
And so to kind of keep the story short and sweet, it did not end well for them. And so that friend like shared information with me that did not paint her in the greatest light. And so, for me, like my first impression of her was just, oh, okay, she's this girl who hurt my friend. Like, okay, maybe she's not that great. I don't know. But I don't know her that well either. So I was like, I won't hold it against her, but I'll keep it in the back of my mind, and I thought I probably won't ever meet her again anyway, so like it ain't no big deal. Well, little did I know she was gonna be very much
Big
involved in
part
the
of
rest
your
of my
life.
life. Yeah. So I had another friend that was a mutual friend of hers, and we happened to all hang out at the same time. And when I reacquainted myself with her, I told her I was straight up when I re-met her, I was like, "Hey, by the way, just so you know, like I think you think that we hate you, but we don't, by the way." Like, I told her straight up, I was like, "I
This
think
guy,
you
man.
have the impression that we might not like you." Just throwing it out there. We don't have a problem with you. Like we just don't know you. We don't know a lot about you. And uh
She could have
I,
said the same thing about you.
right, right. But like I had been told things, and I knew that she was feeling that way because the mutual friend told me that.
right.
So that's
Well,
why I said that, just to kind of clear the air,
I
because
guess
I didn't want her to get the wrong
Can I
impression.
can I ask something before we continue though?
Yeah.
Can we define first impression before we continue?
I think that's a good idea.
But let's
Yeah.
let's start there because the way that you presented it, Alex, is you had you had not even talked to her. You like I don't want to say prejudice. I like to say prejudge, because you're given information.
Yeah.
You had never talked to her,
I had
but
met
you
her, but
base
yeah,
yeah,
we didn't really have it. We didn't have like a real conversation.
Mm,
right. And so like you had already had this thought in your mind of what your friend had told you,
Right.
and then like that was your first impression because of what your friend told you.
Yeah.
And so I want to take a step back and say what let's define first impression amongst us. Like,
it,
what is our first impression? Is it
okay.
you see somebody walk in a room and then you're like, oh, this person might be that way? Or is it, hi, my name is Devante, nice to meet
Mm.
you. Your name is, and then, or is it a combination of both? I saw them walk in a room and then I introduced myself. That's the first impression. So, those are the scenarios. Or
Okay, well,
unless you have more.
you started, Devontae. How would you define first impression?
For me, it's both. It's
Okay.
I saw the person and then I connected that person with what I saw, how I perceived them, and then I or them went up to each other and said, "Hi, I'm Devante. Nice to meet you." Or they say, "Hey, I'm this person. Nice to meet you," and then we have a conversation. Like that
Mhm.
is my initial, to me, like a genuine first impression of that person.
Mm. I
I think that's
think,
fair.
yeah.
With for me, I like your answer. I think for me, my thought has always been a first impression is just the first like the first thought you've had of them. So like,
Mm,
like you said, that you see someone walking in the room and like just the way they're acting, you're like, oh, okay, like that person is that way. And you know, at least that's how it was growing up. I think as I've matured and, you know, like gotten older, it's become more your current definitions. Like, okay, I see someone act a certain way, but maybe they're just acting that way because they're really comfortable around their friends in that moment, or uh maybe they've had some things going on,
Mhm.
and so that's why they look a little more on the downside today. Like I try not to hold it as like I don't try to hold them accountable to the very first impression, and so it's like I try to look at it more like how you do. It's like, okay, I saw how they kind of acted. Now, how do they behave when I meet them, and then moving forward from there.
Yeah, no, I think y'all nailed it. For me, like the first impression is when you first see them, or you first like, yeah, you first see them. I think it can go a little further back if someone tells you a story about someone. Like, say, I'm
Mhm.
gonna tell you a story about, my brother's like girlfriend. Like, you've never met her before, you've never seen her before. I tell you a story. Whatever story I tell you will set first impressions.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like it's to me when you meet someone, it's how you see them first, and then you get another first impression when you actually interact with them. Say, hey, my name is Anthony. My name is Devon. My name is Alex. We get to know. We get to introduce themselves. And I tell that because my wife has a very fun story to tell how her first impression of me was. Like before we
Okay.
started talking, her first impression of me was, look at this smug asshole. Why is he upset? So why is he upset all the time? And to give you some context, so we met in college, as y'all know, and we met at a student organization after, like, at like this or student org met at 5 p.m. every Tuesday.
All right.
On Tuesdays, when I was in college at the time, I had a student job, and I listed my schedule so that I went to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I work full 8 hours Tuesday and Thursday. I work from 8 to 5 on Tuesdays, 1 hour lunch. And so on
Tired.
Tuesdays, I'm getting off of work. I immediately off of work, I'm heading to the club meeting, and it's like all the way across campus from where the club meeting is. And so I put on my headphones. I'm like, cool, I'm done with work. I go to this club meeting, put my headphones, and I just walk. And at the time, the music I listened to is like rap music. I was into, like, 2000s emo punk music that we all listened to as kids.
Yeah.
And so I'm like walking in, and I'm like serious face. I'm not like, smiling. I'm not like skipping, down the street because I'm going to a student organization. I'm tired. I worked 8 hours a
East
day.
All right.
Coast,
And
man.
I'm just like,
So
apparently, like, I'm just like looking really grim, like I'm walking with purpose. Open the club, the club room door, and I'm like,
All right.
purpose. Apparently, Michelle, she says she sees me. I have like a scowl on my face, apparently, headphones on, hands in my pocket, just walking to a seat. She's like, like, what? Why are you here? Why are you mad all the time? Like, if you don't want to be here, don't be here. No one's forcing you to be here.
I can believe that. Yeah,
So apparently that's the energy I brought into the day one. And I sit down,
yeah, you
and then
smug asshole.
and then we did our introductions, and the energy is because I wasn't upset. I'm not upset. I'm being there. I
yeah.
want to be there. I take out my headphones, and now I'm like more positive. I'm more like, hey, now I'm time to introduce each other. But me walking from job to club was like, this is like, I'm not trying to meet anyone on the walk. I'm trying to get to the location.
All right.
And so now her first impression was like, oh, look at this smug asshole. Why are you here? Why are you mad? Why are you mad to be here? Don't be here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
obviously, when I start talking and introduce myself, I go from like stern to like more like cheerful, my cheerful self. So that becomes the next first impression. Hey, my name is Anthony. I'm a computer science major. Happy to be here, kind of energy. And so,
She was fooled by your RBF.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then fast forward to when we actually had a conversation of like, hey, now we're actually having a conversation, and she gets to know like the second layer of like Anthony, like of who I am. And so
Mm.
I think that's how it is too. Is like, when you first see them, how they carry themselves matters. When you first hear about them, how they're portrayed by other people matters. And the second is when you actually talk to them. Are they actually what they say they are? So for you, Alex, you met Chelsea. You're like, oh, she's normal. She has a pulse. She breathes. She's cool. And
Yeah.
then you hear stories, you're like, oh, these stories, they don't seem to align with what my first impression of her was. But hey, I mean, I don't know any better. I'll take your truth for it. And then when you actually meet her, you're like, hey, like, you're clearly not what the stories say you are. You're,
Yeah.
you're clearly more like
Right.
this. Let's get to know each other better. So those are like three distinct impressions that are like, you can kind of say their first impressions because you're knowing a different side of them.
Right.
Mm. I like that perspective.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Solid.
That's a lot of people though. Like
Yes.
I feel like that's a lot of people where even amongst us, if you, Anthony or Alex, knew somebody that I was meeting for the first time, and you had told me beforehand, oh, this person's kind of like this or like that, whether positive or negative, me being your friend, of course I take it into consideration, but me also being me, I am going to take it as a grain of salt until I meet the person because I truly want to know this person, not
Right.
for who other people perceive them to be, but for who I'm meeting them as in
Right.
that state. And
So
sometimes some people have an off day, right?
yeah,
Like
that's true.
somebody could have been laid off and they come
Some
into a
people have an
meeting
off day
and
every day.
yeah, it's some that you gotta watch out for.
And I think you make a good point. Is that like you can have a bad first impression, but that don't let that define you. Like if that truly
Mhm.
is like a bad first impression, like try to make up for it the next time you see them, or or try to figure out like, hey, I know we got off on the wrong foot, but like here's who here's more a better representation of who I am. There's I have a good example of like my wife's like best friend. She was telling a story about like her boyfriend at the time or her boyfriend, he had a very bad first impression with her best friend. And so like her best friend's like, oh, I don't think I like your boyfriend. And she was like, hey, I think he made a bad first impression. Can you kind of remedy it? And so he did a very stand-up thing. He went up to the friend and was like, hey, like I'm sorry we got off on the wrong foot, but here's who I really am. And that took a lot of like, a lot of character because like it's easy for me. It's like, oh, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just myself. Like I was myself
Right.
anything wrong. But he was like, oh, I'm sorry I made a bad first impression and let's get to know each other better. I think that was a really stand up thing to do.
So what makes a bad first impression?
Ooh, I'm gonna change that
Ooh,
question a little bit
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a
and
quick
say,
answer. I got a
okay,
quick
yeah, you
answer.
go a quick answer first, and then I'm gonna change it so a
Okay.
little bit different.
Okay. Quick, easy answer. If you get into an argument with them over just something like small or little, and you're just,
Okay.
it leaves kind of that negative energy as you
Wow.
guys go your separate ways. But that's my quick one.
Okay.
Huh. Okay.
My variation of your question, and you'll see why it's such a variation, is if you were meeting, if one of your friends was gonna meet me for the first time, what would you tell them how to make a good impression on me? Right.
That's cheating.
Well, that's the thing.
It's
Like
fair. It's
it's
fair.
right. It's the
You
same
could,
question. Like for if one of my friends would meet Devante for the first time, here's what I would tell them. Like, here's how to make a good
yeah,
first impression on Devante, because like it means a lot because you guys are like, are like family to me.
yeah.
So imagine like, and we can take a very concrete example. Is like your wife has how to make a good first impression on Devante, on Anthony and Alex. What would you tell her?
I know exact. Well, for myself, I hope that this is what you guys would say: is just be authentic.
Okay.
Whether you're a good
Words out
person,
my
a
mouth.
bad person, I'm gonna pick up on it, man. Some way, somehow, it's just something inside of me. But I'm gonna pick up on it, and just if you're not authentic, like I'd rather you be a horrible person talking to me and giving me a first impression than you lying to my face and trying to please me just because you guys were like, hey, this will make Devontae happy. Talk about the Bible, talk about Jesus. Like
Yeah.
I would love it. I'd be like, yeah, let's talk about it.
Right.
But that I'd rather you just be a horrible person. If you are a horrible person, just be authentic, just be yourself and just come up to me and just talk to me. But that's mine personally. Like good or bad, just be authentic.
Okay.
That's
You
just
know,
my
Anthony,
What's up?
you're guilty of this one, I'm pretty sure.
How
Correct
so?
me if I'm wrong, but
Okay.
I didn't know until I knew. But if I could have forewarned her, I would have. Whenever I told Chelsea about you guys, I'm like, oh yeah, they're super chill. I think you'll get along with
Mm.
them great. Just you're gonna get to meet them. I forget the day
hyping
that it
y'all up,
was,
bro.
and then Devante meets my now wife and interrogates her with all these questions. And I'm pretty sure Anthony like gave Michelle the heads up, like, "Hey, Devonte might ask you a bunch of questions when you meet him the first time."
I did give her a heads up, and when they first
And I
met,
did.
didn't ask her any questions. So I
Could
was
you
wrong.
imagine? Yeah, and
Right.
what was her impression of Devonte after that? Remind me.
I mean, she just felt like, oh, he didn't really talk to me. He just talked to Anthony the entire time.
The way I perceived it was she was very concerned and like very like distraught. She was like, "Why didn't he
Yes.
ask me any
Why didn't he
questions? Like,
ask
what
you
did
any
I do? Did I
questions?
upset him?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
I
understand."
was just I was just
And
observing, man.
he was Devontae's
Right.
like, "I'm gonna take a different approach this time."
Hey, I keep y'all on your toes, but just be
Oh
authentic, bro.
man.
Right. So then I guess, to add on to your question, like for you, what makes a bad first impression? Like what would immediately turn you off in the
The
conversation?
opposite of being
Opposite
like,
being fake?
yeah, yeah. Like,
Okay.
I don't know. Some people, you can just kind of tell they're just forcing the conversation. Like,
Mm.
oh, I'm great. I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, that's cool.
What
Like,
if they authentically annoy you? Like that's just
authentically,
them.
that's okay. That means that that's the type of person that they are too.
Right.
That just means that
At
like
least
you,
you're
Alex, like
honestly
you,
Would
yeah,
that be a
you're a
bad
very
impression
honest,
for you then?
pure-hearted person. Say again.
Would that be a bad impression to you then, out of
No,
curiosity?
I always give people second chance. I don't want to say second impressions, but like if the first impression was bad, I'm like, oh, I keep it in the back of my mind,
Mhm.
but that doesn't deter me from wanting to talk to them again
Give
or
them like one
you
more
know,
chance.
yeah, one more chance. And sometimes it's even three chances. Like I'll be like, maybe that wasn't the conversation to be had, or maybe that was like a pain point or like I'll find a different way to relate to that person to see like them flourish. And
Mm.
that's when I'm like, oh, okay, so this is what they like to talk about. This is the true them. This is what they want to talk about. That's how you know when people start talking about subjects, they just start talking and they don't care about what you think. They just because they know the subject so well. And that to
Yeah.
me, I'm like, oh, I love that because I love to listen to that or listen to people and be like, this is what they genuinely love. This is what they genuinely talk about. And that's why the dude tell me segment came to be because I want to listen to you guys. I want to listen to uh the guests that we have. I want to know what makes you you. And if that means you being super authentic or you being a butthead, that's okay. That's just you. And
Me
I
drafting for
have to
fantasy.
accept you. And it's my decision if I want to keep talking to you or not. And for me, most of the
Thanks for
time,
keep
I will
choosing
keep
to
talking
talk
to
to
you.
me.
Yeah. Unless you just say something off the wall or disrespectful, then I'm like, okay, look, man. But until then, I'm like, you're just being you. And
Mhm.
at some point, maybe I'll get tired of it and I'll keep going about my life. But until then, I'm like, yeah, I'll just keep talking.
I think life needs correction. We need to get rid of 50% of the population.
Oh yeah, you just
Yes.
Snap.
Well, I was
it's
trying to
our
give you something out of the box to judge me on.
Arbitrary.
Unless you agree with Thanos.
um I don't know about that.
All right, Alex, what about you? What's a good way to make a first impression on you?
To make a good first impression on me.
Yeah, yeah. And then addendum, what
Just
was your
give him
bad
You
cookies.
know,
and
oh
cookies?
my
Yeah, truly, truly.
okay. Hold on, hold
It's like
on.
I love you.
That's not fair. That's cheating. That's cheating.
It's a cheat
Like,
code. It's
yes.
the cheat code.
Yeah, it's a cheat code. I'll tell all the people. Hey, just give him
What?
cookies, dog.
Bring them the
Oh
cookies.
man.
Instant
Yeah, but you
wins.
gotta give me the right one because if you give me a bad cookie, I'm just gonna be like, oh, thanks, and
Mm.
just set it to the side and not ever eat it. Or pretend like I'll kindly accept the gift, not eat it, and then leave with the gift and then throw it away later.
This guy.
Hey man, if it ain't a good cookie, I ain't eating it.
All
That could
right.
leave a bad impression if it's not the
Okay,
right
there you go.
one.
Yeah,
Okay.
if your choice in cookies will make Alex not like you. But what's a good way to
Uh,
get you?
Yeah,
What's a
what's a
serious
it
good
just
answer?
one?
might I might just judge your taste in cookies. That's all.
What's a serious answer? What's a cheat code to getting Alex to like have a good first impression with Alex?
Man, I'd say I just like good vibes, like how I bounce off somebody. Like
Mhm.
if I'm talking to somebody and I feel like they have good energy, like they're someone that's fun to talk to, like we can relate on some things and just like have a fun time. It's gonna leave a good impression on me. Like I would say I'm a pretty easy person to make a good impression on. But like if you're coming in with a negative attitude, like you're like
Hate to be
not
here.
having
I
fun.
hate
You're
your
like it
guts.
I just got
right.
off
It's like,
work. I'm going to a student org meeting now.
yeah, yeah. Is that what Michelle did for you?
Well, apparently that's what the NJ gave off.
Oh man. Exactly. Like it's it's like, hey, I just want to have a good time, like have fun with the people that I'm spending my time with. And if you're someone who's just always being negative and not having fun and like you're just in a sorry state every time we're hanging out, like it ain't gonna leave a good impression on me.
That's
And it's
fair.
just it's you know, we'll see.
Sorry, state.
Sorry
It's
state.
true. It's true though.
True.
I think for me, according to my wife, the best way to get on my good side is the easiest way is to show interest one of my interests. Whether it's
Yeah.
like Star Wars, Magic the Gathering, computer science. So, I have a wide variety of interests. I'm in cooking, gardening, all that kind of stuff. But if you don't have a immediate connection to one of my interests, the next good way to get into my good side is just introducing me to something that I've never kind of experienced before in terms of like interest.
Mm,
Because I'm a very curious person. And then so like me talking to someone about what they do for a living, what they do for a hobby, if it's something that I've never really experienced, like I'm going to like latch on. Like, oh, tell me more about this. Cause like I don't think I'll get into it, but I want to see why you like it.
mm,
Um, and
makes
then
sense.
for me, the easy way to not get a good my attention is entitlement. And so
Mm,
I've gone through situations where like I'm trying to be a good person, pay for dinner, or like I want to do the check dance, but then the person doesn't do the check dance. Like, oh, it's kind of weird now. Like, hey, I know this is performative, but like I need you to like to participate, dog. I need you
yeah.
to like do the dance with me. Otherwise, I just get very sour into it in myself. Like, oh, you're like, are you entitled to my money? Is that how you see it? Are you entitled to
Am I
something like
reaching for
that?
my wallet?
Yeah, you reaching. You be respectful because like if you're not respectful, it's like, are you even like you're not respectful, but yet you demand respect? Like, how does that work?
Right.
Hmm.
Some people be like that.
It is, yeah, very much so.
So, what about? I'm gonna give you like different scenarios. What about like, um, what if you have like Alex had a bias, right?
Mm,
Like your friend told you
Mhm.
compared
Yeah.
to accuracy. So it's like a first impression that is biased versus a first impression that is actually accurate. So in that scenario, um, like, do you guys would which one do you guys find yourself in? Like Alex, he found it, and with Chelsea, he found himself. Oh, that's my friend told me.
Word of
Now
mouth. Yeah.
this is, but I'm seeing a totally different side of Chelsea. Or
mm,
for you, Anthony. Nobody told Michelle. That's just how she perceived you.
yeah,
But now you see is a totally different side of Anthony. So one is like bias, and then it become versus how accurate they perceived you as. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does, and I think I do what kind of act does, where I hold to both ideas true. Like, oh, I can hear stories about you, and if they come from a trustworthy source, I'm going to like keep that in mind. But when I meet you, how you present yourself would also keep that in mind as well. And so
Mhm.
like I've met people where I've heard like really like bad things about them, and I meet them, and they're like nice as you can be,
Yeah.
and personally it comes from a really trustworthy source. But I was like, I keep in mind, like you can be two faced. People can be two faced.
Oh yeah.
Oh
They can
yeah.
put on a very charming, nice front, but behind the scenes, how they treat other people behind the scenes can be really nasty.
Yeah.
So I keep that in mind. It's like at what point are they going to turn on me? Are they going to
Mm,
treat me nasty compared to how they treat me in real
right. Or even let me change it up. What about like all three of us are actually pretty cultured. So what about cultural differences? Like let's say like
Ooh.
for me in Japan, I'll give you an example. Like in Japan, the common courtesy is to bow. Like you bow and that
Yeah.
shows honor, respect. And so for people who don't know,
life.
it's like they're not, that Japanese person, America is just a handshake. In
Yeah,
Japan, you don't
it's
do
like a
it.
bow,
Like you just
right?
but you bow. But for a person who doesn't know the other culture, it's like you as an American are going for a handshake. Them as the Japanese person, they're about to bow. And it's like an awkward,
You
and
smack their
so
head. You just
yeah, yeah.
Easy. Dap them up and then you bow.
And so like have you guys ever ran
Like,
into
what's
like
up, bro?
cultural
And then
differences in terms of first impressions? Or like,
so
I'll
I
give you
actually heard about a
yeah.
very interesting one at Coachella recently. Uh did you hear about Sabrina Carpenter and
yeah.
uh yeah, so I guess there
Wait,
was some
explain the situation to Devante. I don't think
Yeah, I
Devante
don't
keeps up with that
yeah.
stuff.
So
keep up with
so
pop culture.
I don't know which country they're from, but I believe it's a country in Africa, and I guess they were doing some type of chant. Correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony, but what I say was they were doing some type of chant, and I guess it was annoying Sabrina who was performing, and she thought they were just trying to just be, like they were
Annoying.
trying to get attention, or they were just trying to interrupt her, like I don't know, whatever the case was, she got the wrong impression from them. She thought that they were doing it, I guess, to be obnoxious and rude, but to them, I guess in their culture, it was more like oh, like this is we're having a great time, this is fun, we love being here, and so she literally like spoke up and asked them to stop in the middle of her performance because she was frustrated with them.
I think
That's yeah.
it's like layered, and I think the best way to sum up my thoughts is that no one's born woke. No one's born knowing every single culture out there.
Right.
And
Right.
so, like, take example for your example, Devante, is that yeah, if you've never been to Japan before and you're not familiar with how like you may see on TV, but you may think, oh, maybe they don't do that in like real life. It's just
All right.
TV.
Yeah.
And they bow to you and you shake your hand, like that could be fine. I think it's repeatedly, if you repeatedly disregard someone's culture, then that's a problem. Right.
Yeah.
But like if you make a mistake and it's not very common, then that's okay. I think a good example is like tipping. Like my uncle and I went to Japan, my uncle tried to tip someone, and then tipping is not really a thing in Japan. It
Yeah.
can come off as rude, actually. I mean, Michelle told me how like, if you tip someone in like Hong Kong, Taiwan, it can come as rude. It can be, hey, you need my change more than I do because you're poor, you're whatever. So it
Right.
comes as rude.
Mhm.
Americans, we're in a tip culture. You tip for everything these days. And so like if you
No
tip someone not
kidding.
knowing that like it's considered rude, like I don't hold that against you. I think it as part of a more like a globalist view, maybe you should educate them. Hey, tipping is not really part of our culture. That can be seen as rude. And then if they continue to tip, then we have a problem. Then that goes all out
Then
the
you take
window.
the money. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
it goes all out the window. But like if they do it the first time, if it's clearly because they don't know any better, like, I'm not gonna hold it against them. No one's born woke. No one's born knowing all the different cultures out there. And then for the and I take the same example for Sabrina Carpenter as well. If she doesn't know that's part of like, their culture, then like it's I think her reaction, maybe saying it's weird out loud, you can have debate whether you should at a music performance where performance is a key portion of it, should they be doing that first place? I think that's a very valid critique, but it's also a valid critique saying, hey, you know, you calling it weird is being xenophobic. It's being, saying it's calling their culture weird. That's not okay either. So
Yeah.
that one's a very weird paradigm of like, you know, should they have been doing that at the show? Should she have said something? It can kind of go both ways.
yeah.
Right. Right.
How about
Yeah.
this is a tough one. And it kind of goes back to dating, but um first impressions over the internet, like social media, like
Mm.
Online
you
dating.
yeah, like whenever you make a dating profile, you put your best foot forward, right? Like
Yeah.
everything is perfect,
Yeah.
right? Even social media, your Instagram,
Perfect.
like perfect angle, perfect lighting, like everything about it. It's like, whoa, this person cannot be real, but it's you. And so
Photoshop does
yeah,
work
it could be
wonders.
Photoshop. Yeah. And so, like, to what extent have you guys ever ran into, I never was in the dating scene, so I don't really know, but there are moments where I haven't met a person and like I'm meeting them for the first time, and my friend would be like, "Hey, here's their social media,"
Mm.
Yeah.
So I'll stalk him on social media, like Benny Boy Bites, right? Shout out to Benny Boy Bites. We went and stalked his social media so we can have him on, stuff
Research
like that.
material.
Yeah, and but like he looks like a big dude. Like he never showed his face until he came on our show. A little fun fact about that to our fans and his fans. And so it's like for me, it could seem like, oh, he's an intimidating dude that likes to cook. And then when we're talking to him, I'm like, I'm building my perspective on him, and I'm like, oh, he's like a teddy bear. Like he's a nice dude. Like there's like what I perceived him to be, which is like this big dude that knows how to cook, right? It's like, oh, he's just like us. Or I don't want to commonize him, but it's like, oh, he's relatable. He knows how to talk to us. He can have a fun time. He can have a good conversation. I've never met him, but yet on his social media, this is what I perceived him as, right? And so, like, have you guys ever been in that moment of, oh, I see this person on the social media or this dating app, and then I meet him in person, and it's like it can go either one of two ways, right?
I've got one for you, Devonte. You just made an impression the other day of somebody on social media. What was your first impression of seeing Sydney Sweeney?
She looks normal. She's not my cup.
Bro,
She's not my.
she looks normal.
She's not my cup of tea, man. You
She
know,
she
like
she not my cup of teas. A tea.
that's funny that you say that because I was just talking about walking out the other day because she saw that episode and she's
Oh
Oh
like,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
I need to readdress that. She was like, y'all made it seem like, oh, like she's my celebrity crush or something, or I made
No.
it seem like she's my celebrity crush because you're like, oh yeah, like she's her type, But in terms of yeah, her sweeties, I guess. but but yeah, she to me, she's like a normal, like an average looking girl to me. Like she'd be like friend zoned. I'd be like,
Mm.
oh yeah, she's my friend. But I don't see her as anything more, anything less. It's like, oh yeah, like she just looks average to me. Like she's not Olivia Wilde, like
I'm glad you cleared the air because
yeah, I need
we
to clear that because my wife was
Yeah,
like, you
bro.
need to, yeah. If that ever came back up, I was like, I'll clear it. And so
Clear.
Alex, she cleared the air for me there. So
Oh,
to me, Sydney
congratulations.
Sweeney is, we saw her pictures and she just looks normal to me. Like I'm like, okay. And I watched the movie and I was like, all
Mhm.
right, it's just
You watched it
She's
real
fine.
hard.
She's
I
fine.
did. I wished her real hard, and I was like,
She aight.
she I
She fine.
Oh man, I hope we clip that. Bro, that can be taken so funny.
That's kind of funny.
she's I.
You heard what I
Bro.
said, right?
I know, and I kept going with it.
And I know you did. Oh
So,
my god.
have you
Okay.
guys ever found yourself in that situation?
I never online dated, so it's hard to answer that
Yeah.
question truthfully.
Okay. Or
I
meeting
have to-
somebody for the first time that you've never met, but you've seen their socials.
I'll tell you this much. There's been one influencer that I've kind of followed for a few years ever since TikTok came out, just because I always thought that they seemed genuine and I just like their content and stuff. But there's this one person called Tabitha Swatosh, and she like had these skits back in the day where she like would have a conversation with her little brother, and I always found it just very entertaining because the brother I thought was hilarious. But then over time, it evolved from being about her and her brother to like her life, and I just found myself being like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like, there wasn't a lot of influencers that I ever thought were worth really watching, because I don't really care about that sort of thing. But for whatever reason, this girl's life seemed like interesting enough to follow. And so like now, uh, however many years later, she has a farm, and I'm like, okay, this is cool. Let's keep up with the farm. Like, let's see what kind of animals she's raising now. And I'm like, why do I even care at the same time? But it's just,
Parasocial relationship.
yeah, it's like,
Oh, that's
it's
the
weird.
word.
Yeah.
Parasocial. Yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't
Parasocial
heard that word in a
relationship.
while, man. Yeah.
I hear it a lot.
Parasocial. Yeah.
I think I'm friends with this person because
I wouldn't say that. I would not say that.
I know about her farm.
No. Actually, you know what's funny? Chelsea also follows this person on Facebook, and she knows like every cow, or no,
Mm.
not every cow, every
Yeah,
horse that's on that farm. And I'm like,
It's a
Chelsea, what?
Parasocial relationship. You follow.
I was like,
their
they need to
life
hire
interests.
you to go work on that farm. The horse is better than the husband does.
Maybe we have parasocial fans. They're following us.
Us
Us
vicariously through these recordings didn't know us. I mean, maybe. I mean, like, yeah, I think we're all guilty of like parasocial relationships with like some celebrity, some person on the internet, something like
So I did have one more setting though. So we talked about, the dating setting, we talked about the social setting. I do want to go back to something that you touched on, Anthony, which is the professional setting.
that. Professional
Right.
setting,
And I truly believe the professional setting is cutthroat, bro. Like first
Yes.
impressions is
Yes.
that's top priority. Like you just cannot mess up because sometimes you only get one interview. And if you mess up during that interview, you're done for, bro. Like it's like goodbye, walk out that door.
I think you nailed it. So like during interviews, you have to put we hear the common question: put your best self forward, put your best foot forward. You only make one first impression, and that's true for interviews. But like,
Yeah.
think about a coworker you meet for the very first time. Like they already been hired. You're stuck with them for like until either
Exactly.
you quit or they quit. And so like you can have a very bad first impression, but you're stuck with them. How do you handle those situations?
See, that's pretty tough.
Right. In a
Ah.
as a concrete example, like I was talking to my friend. He's like, he met a coworker. First time meeting them, they were in a contentious meeting. It got heated, and the coworker said something like, like very like not bad, but like really combative. The
Mm,
first time ever meeting, and but like that was the meeting we were having was very contentious, and so
Yeah.
like immediately like, oh, this person is sour, and they're doing it virtually too. It was like a phone call. So I was like,
Mm,
oh, the karma's call. I never meet the person. He sounds like a dick. He sounds like X, Y, and Z. I hate him.
dang,
I say
that's
I hate
tough.
him. They met each other in person like 2 weeks ago for the
Were
first
they
time because
like
they
that?
came. There's like yes, but also like no. Like in the work setting, because you have your work persona, you have to be a certain way. But outside
Right.
your work persona, you're more of a human being. And so that's how it was. He's something like, yeah, like him in the office, he's very business. He's very matter of fact. He's very much like this. But then they went to like happy hour as like a company bonding moment. And that guy's like pretty chill to talk to. He's like,
Mm.
he has his own little weird hobbies. He's like, just like us. We have weird hobbies. But
You
like,
bring up a good point. I was talking to Walken about it, and she stated the same point that you did. There's some people that are really you just cannot work with. But then outside of work, you go, like you said, you go have a drink with them, and you're like, why aren't you my friend?
yeah,
You know? But at work, you're like, who is
because
this
like
guy, bro?
sometimes work just
yeah.
requires like a different personality to come up.
Oh yeah, that's why some people are in the position that they are, right? Like managers and CEOs and
Mhm.
right? Like outside of being a CEO, they're probably a great person.
Yeah,
But
they're probably just
Yeah.
normal.
when they're
Yeah. And
sitting
it's
in a
like
boardroom,
when you're hanging out with that friend outside the office and you're like, you're my manager? You're the CEO? Like, are you sure? The way you're
yeah, you would
behaving
never
right
would
now?
have guessed it, probably. Yeah.
Even then, though, it's just like when you're in that leader's position, you have to make tough calls, and you have like they're always like, oh, it's not personal, it's business. They always think that's a very common saying, but like
Yeah.
sometimes like it's a reflection of it because they're in that situation. They have to behave a certain way.
Mm.
Yeah. Just like
For
how
me,
Devante tried to get me kicked off. Dude, you never told me for not liking sparkling water.
No, you kicked yourself off.
yeah, you chose to leave. But I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
like I
true.
have
You
like
can play back the clip. It's true. I did say that.
but like speaking of like corporate personas, I have like a corporate laugh that I do all the time. You tell me a funny
Oh,
joke, corporate laugh, ha 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 ha, so funny, so funny.
Wait, that's
Oh,
it?
you tell
Uh,
me about your kids, so funny. Oh, your kids adorable. Outside of it, I don't care about your kids, dog. Like
wait,
I'm
wait.
so glad you love your kids, and it's cool now that I'm like in my 30s. The time with the kids, like oh yeah, used to do that too. But truthfully, I'm glad you love your kids. I don't care about your kids. I don't care about your kids' soccer games. I really don't. I'm gonna try to be friendly with you.
his
I'll be
coworker is
He's
honest.
like, I
listening in
don't
right
know you.
now.
I don't like you.
I
I
said
just have to work
I
with
didn't
you.
say I didn't like them. I'm just saying like oh like you tell me a joke and like I will
I
like
don't
laugh
know
and think
you.
it's
I don't
funny.
know
But
your kids. I don't like your
I was
kids.
like I don't know your kids. Like you tell me your kids are like in sixth grade playing soccer. That's cool. I
Oh
guess.
no.
What
Anthony
follow
coworker's
up do
gonna
I have
watch
to
this later
offer?
and be like,
What
Anthony,
follow
what
up
the
do I
heck?
have? What I can't relate to. Yeah, I'm going to watch my kids play soccer. What the? What am I gonna
Can
say?
I watch them too?
that's
Yeah,
that's
like
I
weird.
hope not.
That's
what are you
weird. See,
supposed to say?
even now I guess like even I think that's weird, dog.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are you supposed to say?
Yeah, what are you
Like,
supposed to
that's
say?
great. Like,
Oh,
I'm
that's
gonna come
cool.
to your kid's soccer game. Like,
That's when you
uh,
follow up with, will there be cookies?
But
so
yes, I do have a corporate laugh. It's great.
so what is one first impression that you change if you could?
One
You know,
first
to
impression.
kind of wrap up this first impression.
Like
Like,
that
what's
I
one that
had
you're
or
like,
somebody had.
Ooh.
it, it can be either, but preferably you.
Mm.
Do you have an example, Devante? While me and Axe try to think of one.
Yeah. So one first impression that if that I had that I did that if I could change um was probably my first ever interview
Oh, okay.
with my company.
Yeah.
So I think for my first ever interview, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty because people will be like, "That's not an interview." But um, so this is kind of the accuracy versus bias
Yeah.
because it's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
Ain't that the truth?
And so I was recommended by a higher position, and they were like, "Hey, we want this guy's intern." So the higher position is the highest position,
Mm.
by the way. So it's like, oh, if the highest position wants him, how much more are we to say?
Right.
You can't, right? And so during this interview, HR comes in. They ask me, they're like, "Hey, like, tell me about yourself." I tell them this. So this part, is literally the first impression. HR's walked in. I'm sitting there. I One thing I wish I would have done, because this is a Japanese company, is I wish I one thing I did do, but the other part that I didn't follow up with is you bring whenever you're in Japan, they always bring snack, like offering a snack, or like
Right.
a peace offering, like, hey, I thought, even though this is my interview, here's a snack, and this is what Japanese people just do. And so I brought like a little snack for them, and I didn't bow though. So that was the thing. I didn't, I just gave him the snack, and I was kind of American, so I just sat down. But um and so within that, it's like, for me, I'm already thinking, oh crap. Like, and I remember it distinctly. I'm like, oh crap, I didn't do the second part of what I formally should have done. And so I'm sitting now, I'm already kind of nervous. It's
It
HR.
was in his head.
Yeah, it was. And but the thing is, like I said, I'm gonna be authentic no matter where I go, no matter what I do. And so they're like, "Hey, what do you do? Why do you want to come here? Why do you want to work?" And I tell them all the things. And I literally was straight up with them. I said, "Hey, even though you guys are hiring me as a computer engineer, like, that's not my goal in my
Oh
life."
no.
Like, I was just being I was just being for
Yeah.
real, because they asked me. I was like, I want to be a minister. I want to be, like, working for churches and spreading the name of Jesus. Like,
Like,
I
why
was just being
what?
for real.
Like, why are you here then?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Bro,
That's how it
That's what
kind of
I would have
felt.
said. That's what I would have said.
you got that job with that kind of interview, bro?
Hey, but you know what? In
I hope you
hindsight,
never have to apply for another job.
yeah, and I asked HR like years later, that same HR, she still works with me, and I asked her, I was like, "Do you remember my first interview?" She's like, "Yes, you were really distinct, because you were the only one that actually said, like, this isn't what I wanted." Like most HR, people suck up. They're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, like, I'm a computer engineer. I know how to
This,
code. I know how to do
yeah,
this and
this is
that."
my
Like,
life. I live and
yeah.
breathe programming.
Exactly. But me, I was like, nah, forget all that. I went to college for 4 years for that, but that's not what I really want to do. And
Yeah.
so she was like, I remember that very distinctly. And so that first impression, even though, to me, like, there's some points that I do want to go back and change. I do appreciate myself for still being genuine and authentic, even to the point of not have gotten the job. But that's just how I am. That's just how I'm gonna be, no matter where I go, no matter what job. I'm gonna stay true to who I am, and I'm not gonna flow away from it, because that's what you're hiring.
Yeah.
Is me. Like, yes, I'm a
Authenticity,
computer engineer,
person.
but
This is,
I care for people more than people think that I do. Like, some people don't care, and that's okay. But that my goal is not computer engineering. That's just my bystander. That's just my way to make money.
yes.
But
Yeah.
my true purpose, my motive, or my true purpose, is to be a minister. And
That's
so,
why I always ask in my interviews of someone, I ask them like the softball question is always like, oh, what's like your hobbies outside of like work? And if they give
that's a
me
fun
like some
one.
sort of like, if
I'm coding
programming
all the
answer,
time. Yeah.
I think if I can tell they're being genuine, thumbs up. That's really cool. But if
Mm.
I can tell you're forcing it because that's what you think I want to hear, I'll be like,
Mm.
like
Yes,
what you put on a show for? Like, it's okay for you to like not coding.
that's true.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I think for me, my first impression I would change. I'd probably change how I met my wife's parents for the first time. I think I would have got
Mm.
them a gift when I first met them. I did
Mm.
not. I think we met at Michelle's graduation. It was very rush, very like fast paced kind of situations. I wish I could have sat down and talked to them and had long conversations because they had just flown in
Right.
and they first time meet like, by that time Michelle and I had already been dating for like 3 years. This is the first time they met me because they don't live stateside. So I wish I had like a nice dinner, really sat down and talked to them and introduced myself to them, have them get to know me rather than having them get to know me vicariously through Michelle's stories.
That's a good one. But
What about you,
now, I mean,
Alex?
you got the lasting impression.
Yeah, I got lots of impression.
So,
It worked out. I'm definitely glad that my neutral impression became a good impression eventually.
well, speaking of first impressions, I think for Alex, it was um his what is it? Your thing that you said at the beginning of the pod.
Oh, you're talking about like fantasy football?
Yeah. Because that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah, I got that running on the
You're
side.
distracted, dog. All right, Alex. Here's your moment. Sell us on fantasy football. what what in right now not football season when this episode comes out, but there is still an important thing that came out that happened last week.
Yeah, no, I did. So this is something I've been wanting to talk to y'all about, and I've kind of told you guys a bit on the side. So fantasy football is something that I've been playing since college, and it's been fun. A little fun thing that me and my college friends been doing. I haven't got you to play for a little bit, Anthony. I know you don't play
Play.
anymore. Yeah, I know.
I literally I think I've missed the first draft. I let the computer draft for me. I didn't. I mean, I
That's
think
really
I got
good.
like either last place or second to last place in the
You
entire
played
league.
it to get the gist of how it
I got
works.
the gist of it. Yeah, I
I've
understand.
never gotten Devante to play. Maybe 1 year. We'll see. I don't know.
Number crunchy.
Probably
Imagine.
not.
But now it's a bit more interesting because this is a dynasty league. And so the way that it works for dynasty is it's like you're drafting a real team that you keep every year. And so as players age, you have to reconsider, okay, do I still hold on to this guy? Like, do I want to look at younger talent? Like you got to really evaluate who's up and coming versus who's slowly going out the door. And so this year, with the NFL 2026 draft being concluded as of last week, me and my friends, we scheduled our draft for today. Well, originally it was going to be tomorrow, but we moved it back to today because some people had some stuff coming up, and I was like, all right, fine, fine. But anyhow,
This guy.
yeah. Anyhow, so something interesting that happened at the draft last week, I thought it was very curious. There was something that happened with all three of our favorite NFL teams. All three of them got involved in a very certain moment, and I'm pretty sure, Devontae, your team is the most pissed off about it because it affected y'all's team.
As much as you know.
So
So I was like,
here's what,
My
I'm trying to get the
Steelers.
yeah, your
boring.
Steelers. So here's what happened. So in the NFL draft, it was the Dallas Cowboys. They were picked number 20. Steelers were picked number 21.
Okay.
The Cowboys, like a minute in, traded their pick to the Eagles.
Woo.
A very big rival team because they're
Yeah.
division rivals.
Pick
And
20 first round. That's really good.
yeah, we traded you guys, and we only went down like 4 or 5 spots for it. And we were pretty confident we were going to get who we wanted, and I think we did. But you guys, the Eagles, you stole the one who the Steelers wanted, like because we weren't going to draft that guy. Like we had no business drafting that guy. The guy that the Eagles selected was Makai Lemon, and he's like one of the more prominent up and coming wide receivers in this draft. He's supposed to be like one of the top three, and he he was literally on the phone with the Steelers as as the Eagles put their pick in. The Steelers had called Makai Lemon. They'd be
Yeesh.
like, "Hey, congratulations, we're going to take you at pick 21," because they were so confident at that point that they had him. And then the Eagles just swooped on in with their talons, and
I mean,
they snatched him. They said, "Nope."
did the kid look happy to be picked by the Eagles?
Bro, he was so confused. He was literally on the phone call, and his agent comes running up. He's like, "Hold on, hold on." He's like, "Hey, yo, why are the Eagles calling me?" And he's like, "The Eagles just traded for you. They're gonna draft you in pick 20. They're gonna draft you. Get off the phone."
Right.
Wow.
Bro, it was it was wild.
I mean,
And
but like my question still stands. Like one was I mean, I assume the Eagles initiated the trade. They drafted up for him.
so
Right?
that's the thing. The where it gets interesting is the question is, one, did the Eagles just reach out to the Cowboys? Or two, did somebody from the Cowboys happen to swap some text messages with the Steelers and be like, "Hey, like who you taking at 21?" And then they reached out to the Eagles. Well, because so I don't know
That's
if you know
crazy,
this,
man.
Anthony,
I
but
don't
Mike
think that's
McCarthy.
probably the
Well,
situation.
well, actually, it's very possible because Mike McCarthy is currently the head coach now
For the
for the
Steelers.
Steelers. And
Okay.
guess where he was before then?
The
The
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Right.
So
So
Cowboys.
there's a
the
lot of
Cowboy front
people.
office would give their league rival, their division rival, that would literally if You can be like, look at the Steelers. You can be 8-8 and something in the playoffs if you have a good enough record compared to your division. You would think the front office of the Cowboys was like, you know what? Let's spite our head coach, give our division rival like a better receiver just to spite him. I think the Eagles traded up for that spot. I think
It,
they want the receiver because as much as I
oh, I
love the
think they definitely
receiving
wanted
core,
him.
there's been talk about one of the top receivers, AJ Brown. Maybe
Yeah.
that happened with the Eagles. I think they drafted up. They
Hey,
initiated.
don't let anybody fool you, Devante. Anthony knows more than when he lets on. He knows about AJ Brown's deal.
Yeah,
Okay,
right. So like
okay.
realistically, they picked probably drafted up to do it, and it just
Yeah,
it all fell at the last second, being like, oh, let's
yeah,
do it, steal right in before the Pittsburgh did. Or realistically, what probably happened is that like the Eagles got the call that the Steelers they're gonna choose this kid as their pick, and so Eagles like, oh,
yeah.
Choosing.
we're gonna trade up, we're gonna give something up to get this pick because we
Yeah.
really want him. Like
Uh,
people commend the Eagles like a GM, like how he something and how he drafts. Like I'm not surprised that's part of the case.
you know something funny, and it kind of ties back into the first impressions conversation. That wide receiver that the Eagles took, Makai Lemon.
Mhm.
So he initially was a prospect that they expected to be drafted within the first 10 picks. He wasn't supposed to go at pick 20,
Mhm.
but apparently he gave a very funny impression
No,
whenever he was
that's
interviewing,
yeah, that,
like at the combine.
that's
Like they
big.
called
Like
him like very awkward and just
yeah,
strange, and then when
mhm.
he was at the draft, he like acted like this big tough dude, like just like I don't care, like I'm
I'm
cold. I mean, like what it smug asshole.
Yeah. No, but like that's like a huge thing. Like I didn't realize how
Oh,
much like first impressions actually played a role in the NFL draft. Because it's not like the NBA draft. You get drafted by your team, you get traded literally the next day. It's so volatile for the NBA draft, but the NFL draft, like they pick someone, they're looking to franchise tag this person. They're looking to build their entire dynasty off of this one person's pick,
mhm.
and so personality matters a lot. I can think of three examples already that like is good first impression, and two are from this year's draft. So I'll go next last year. So remember Shador Sanders. Shador Sanders,
Oh,
people thought
terrible
this
impression.
man would be like really, first round pick. That man dropped to what, like round three,
Fifth round,
like
bro.
fifth round. He dropped fifth round because
Bad.
he
Jeez.
made a really bad first impression against everyone.
He had a huge party plan for that
Yeah,
first
really
draft day
bad.
and
But
didn't.
it was just really bad first impression. I think he had an interview with one of like the scouting, and then the scouter was like, "Oh yeah, this man was just playing Settlers for Catan during our interview." Like
Yeah.
he said it's very disrespectful.
What
This
was
guy's
crazy too is that guy got straight up bum called, not bum called, prank called by one of the, I forget which team it was, but one of the
yeah.
coaches had his number, and I guess these kids his son who was in college managed to obtain his phone number and
Oh, I heard
Yeah,
about
they
that.
prank called him.
and
But
prank called him, and he told us like, "Hey, we're gonna pick you next," and he's like, "I've been waiting for your call."
but even going back, I understand like the bravado because like his dad is Deion, he's prime time Sanders, and if you go back to Dion's like draft, that man was like, if you don't pick me this, I don't care. I'm not gonna play for you. He like you got pick me. I think he was like pick me three. Like I'm gonna be pick. Like was he pick one or pick three? He's like one of the top picks. And that man literally
Mm.
said, if I'm drafted any lower, it's disrespectful. But like he had the talent to
Right.
back it
He had to
up.
back it up.
He backed it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
really
It wasn't
well.
just all
Facts.
talk.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like fast forward to his son, he had a bad first impression and it tanked his draft stock. He went from making like probably like in like the $20 million guaranteed to like in the third round, which it's a lot less. You make a lot less money when you get to the third round. And fast forward to like the two examples. One, it's like the Rams pick. Um, I think there's a video of like the Ram pick. They pick Ty Simpson. Ty
Ty
Simpson.
Simpson.
Yeah,
Anthony, you
like
you ain't fooling nobody. You watched the
front
draft.
office
Okay, I
picked
get you.
the front off. It was clear that the front office picked Ty Simpson, and the head coach wasn't very thrilled. But he had to call him up and say, "Hey, happy to have you on board." The kid's really
Yeah,
excited to play for the Rams, but you can
yeah.
tell in like the coach's
Mhm.
head face, like he's not very excited.
I
So that's
remember.
probably a good first impression. Like
I
now
remember I
Ty
was shocked
Simpson
when he got drafted.
has to go and now has to like, oh, you probably did not want me as a player, but now I got to show up. Now I
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
do it. And then fast forward from most recent time, Alex, I have to ask, like, did any of your friends wanted to pick Diego Pavia, the Vanderbilt, quarterback,
Not that I
for the
know of.
Bills?
Nobody really talked about him at all. Like
Yeah,
when I heard that he went undrafted, that I was like, "Who's this guy?"
it's actually it's actually, I mean, it makes sense from like a statistic standpoint of why he didn't go, he went undrafted, but his attitude also super soured every scouting report. So like, if, I don't know if you
Okay.
guys, I don't know if you guys have been following. I started following it after I heard he went undrafted. I read up on him, saying, "Oh, why did this kid go on? He's like a Heisman, a semifinalist. Like he was like runner up for Heisman. He lost to Fernando Mendoza. The day he lost, I think he posted onto his like he had a party in like some like Vegas something like that. He had bottle service. And he had a sign that says F Indiana as like a dig at Fernando Mendoza. That was his first year
Yeah.
not win his Heisman Trophy. And then fast forward to this comp, fast forward to the draft during the combine stuff. I think he didn't have an agent. He chose to represent himself as an agent, which is very like egotistical. Like understand like having an agent, you give them a cut of your money, but like how does a 20-year-old kid know about you know
Yeah.
being an agent in the NFL? Like that's a very I'm sure it's a very cutthroat world because
Right.
as the money is that's already threw people off. But as I look into it from a statistic standpoint, his attitude does not help at all, but his build is actually not very good for the NFL, according to this report I was reading. He's on the short side. He's like 5'10". For a quarterback, that's
For
pretty
a
bad,
quarterback, that's really short. Yeah.
right?
That is.
Not only is he 5'10", apparently he has a very shortened wingspan. Like, well, not short, but he has like a normal wingspan for a 5'10" person.
Mm.
He's just 5'10". Sure, he's like muscle. Sure, he's probably has even then, I think he ran like a 40-yard dash in like 4.6 something, I think. Like
Okay.
even on the it's fast, but if you're going for a quarterback or like if you're that short, you end up being like a running back, right? You're
Mhm.
short, you're explosive out the curve. He wasn't that fast for a running back either.
Mm.
So as a quarterback in the NFL, his build just didn't fit a lot of the good numbers. And his
Yeah.
attitude did not help whatsoever.
He could
So
have
he
been the
went
next Tom Brady,
undrafted.
bro.
Tom Brady's tall though.
I don't know about that,
Tom
Devante.
Brady's tall. I mean,
We just
I
didn't
mean,
we didn't give that man a
overlooks all of
chance.
his linesmen and like be able to identify targets. But I mean, for better or for worse, he's on the Ravens now. So it's
So I
okay.
got so that kind of from Heisman to villain, bro. I gotta
Yeah,
say,
very well.
Yeah.
this is my random question. It relates.
Oh.
If we us three had, or let's say we live in a world of superpowers. If us
Oh.
three had superpowers, who would become the villain
Villain.
out of
The
us three?
villain?
Out of the three of us,
Oh.
I don't think any of us have a villain dynamic.
you think so?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I think
Nah.
my initial. Okay, I'll answer first.
No, I can answer it. I can
Okay.
answer it.
Who you choosing?
I think depending on what happens, like it would be an interesting story. Like, but I think it could be me, depending on what happens. Like, I think, like
The villain.
say for example, um, like say I lost my family. Like someone took away my
His
family.
villain origin
right?
story.
Like,
You got a whole
Yeah, no,
story, bro.
I have it in my head, like what, like because I was thinking about like
Well,
what could make me turn super sour and just like hate the world and stuff like that. Like I think if like someone came after my family and took them from me, I think that
Pretty
would
bad.
be what would turn me really sour, especially if I thought for some reason it was heroes or a country or just the world in general, like whatever. Like if I blamed that on them, then yeah, like I could see myself wanting to watch it all burn and be like, I
Mhm.
don't care. Like like I would like to believe that uh that I would keep my like my true, honest, happy, good lucky self, but I feel like that would be a scenario would be really hard, and I could definitely see myself
What if
fall
your wife
into the
is like,
temptation.
you must remember the good in the world. Can't let my death to corrupt you. You're like, nah, fam. I'll go evil.
It all depends, bro. It
I
all
must get
depends.
revenge.
I'm
It all
making revenge on
depends.
the world.
I would like to think that I would do good. I couldn't say like with 100% confidence, and I think that's what makes me human. Going back to that, what is being human, right?
Was being human. Was being
Well,
human. I go evil in a heartbeat.
I don't know, Anthony. I personally think
Oh,
it'd be. I could see. Alex is a more moderate. Like I can see, anybody you take away their family,
yeah.
of course they turn
You'd be
into a
Yeah,
villain, right? Like that would be my
that's tough.
stereotypic one for Alex. But Anthony, I think
What do you
you
think?
would
What's
be a
what's my
hero that is a undercover villain, bro. You like nobody would ever know that Anthony
why?
is a
The
villain
villain?
because you would like strategically play it out. Like
Oh,
whatever
I'm such a
superpower you
bad
had,
liar, dog.
Fair.
I'm so bad
nah, bro,
lying.
you would have like
I
Like you
can't
wouldn't have to
lie.
lie. You'd be too
I
serious.
can't lie.
I
You'd be
think
that smug asshole 24/7,
I
bro.
can't.
I think like you would show up with a superpower and you would not reveal it to like you would
Mm.
have like a portion of your superpower that you've never told anybody,
Oh,
you know?
100%. 100%.
And
Yeah.
like
My trump
but
card.
that yeah, your trump card, but that would be your villain side. Like that's
Oh.
what your superpower would be so like OP that your hero in you is like I can't use this. But then
Mm.
something somewhere some out in the universe pisses you off or something, bro. Something happens in your life that you're like, you know what? Who cares?
Mm.
I'm ready to just, and then you would like, but you would still be a hero. Like
Uh,
you would still play the role of a hero, but underneath, like you would be the villain. Like you would be like, all right, on the side, because you'd play as a hero, you'd be like, oh, I
mm.
took out the evil guy, even though maybe you were in cahoots with them and you're using them to, do whatever
Uh,
evil, but you just
Oh,
have to
bro,
get
you're
rid of
calling him
the loose
Palpatine.
ends. But
all right.
You're calling him
I
Palpatine right
that's
now.
that's what I think. That you would just be like, boom, like nobody would ever know, and then you'd be like, "Yep, I'm the
All
villain.
right.
What are you gonna do about it?"
The
A-
counter offense.
Anthony, he's
I
just
think
calling
you
you
could be the
Emperor
villain,
Palpatine.
Devante. I think you could be the villain. And
Oh
I
man.
think in the same line of like, oh, it's like it's more of like you're misguided. So my best example is like think of Cyclops. I don't know if y'all know his
Oh,
history, trajectory
No.
as a comic book character, original X-Men, founding hero, all that kind of stuff. There is an arc where he goes evil, and his view is that hey, this peaceful option wasn't working. Time to try the villain
Mm,
option. I think that's the Devante move right there. He'd be like,
it's time
hey,
to.
I whatever. Maybe it's like more of like a misguide. Like I was a hero, fall from grace. Now I'm a villain because like what was working past wasn't working anymore. I got to try something
Mm,
more extreme, more
bro
like
trusted the process and then lost
yeah,
hope eventually.
exactly. It's exactly.
that makes
Oh,
sense.
this system doesn't work anymore. I gotta turn the system on itself. I'm gonna be a
And then the system goes against one evil villain, and that'll be me.
yeah.
Like Alex said, the only thing to unite the world is a bigger force, or
Mm,
like a common a
Common
common
enemy.
enemy. And
Yeah.
so
if
I would be the world's common enemy
like
in order to bring true like bring the peace of the world together to
do
take
you
you down.
know? Have you guys read or watched
Devonta, that sounds like some
Watchmen?
Aaron Yeager shit.
Have y'all watched The
I'll
Watchmen?
be the common enemy to
Yeah,
unite everybody.
that's a
So
good.
there's a
Yeah,
character,
yeah.
Ozymandias, is like all about that. Ozymandias, hero for the Watchmen. Then he's like, he's the antagonist for the Watchmen comic book because he says, "Oh, the world is at nuclear war. They're going to destroy each other. I'm going to create a villain for the whole world to unite against." That's what he does. He basically, I'm going to, kill these people to give the world something to like care about. That's what he does. He drops giant squids from space, destroys major cities, and the world's like, oh no, giant squids are falling from the sky. We gotta unite together. We gotta
Right.
end the Cold War and become allies.
Yeah,
Ozymandias. King.
that would be my plan if I were to
That
become
is
a
a very
villain.
Devante plan.
I'm like, all right, I guess I could destroy as much crap as I want, but
For the
y'all
greater
gotta all
good.
take me out. Yeah, y'all gotta
For the
all take
greater
me out though.
good, yeah, for the greater good. All right, I think that's going to wrap us up for this episode. We had a great time, and honestly, I want to know what was y'all's first impression of us three of our show. Kind of take a look, and realistically, talk to my friends. Like, what was your first impression of each other? And we'll take it offline because I have thoughts and opinions.
And tell us why you thought Anthony was a smug asshole.
Yeah. See if can you picture this face being like angry all the time? Emo Anthony, get that long hair. What's thank you so
RBN.
much for listening in. I had a great time conversation with my friends. Thank you so much to Leviction for his awesome intro, his awesome outro. Thank you so much to JT for his designs. And honestly, you guys haven't get a chance yet, go ahead and give our YouTube channel a subscribe. Go ahead and give our Spotify a 5-star rating. If y'all haven't watched, go watch our Thunderfolk episode. Go watch our Gloomhaven episode. And I think by the time this comes out, we'll have started my new endeavor at Magic the Gathering online. So go watch me play Magic Arena because I love Magic. Yeah, that's my new first impression. Welcome, someone. Hey, my name's Anthony. I love Magic the Gathering. Nice to meet you.
There you go.
You
I
have
already know
anything
I'm gonna
else
be
you want to add?
watching that. No, I think you actually covered it all, man. You told them to like, subscribe, follow, check out our clips on Instagram. I mean, shit. Anthony, you covered it all,
Yeah,
man.
man. You gotta go show Alex that his hard work is paying off. That man's been busting his ass off on our social game. So you gotta show him some love, man. Go like our
Yeah.
Instagram. Go like
Go
our
repost.
shorts, our reels. Go repost. Go comment. Feed us into the algorithm.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for
Repost and share
joining
with them
us
friends.
on another episode of Dude You Never Told Me. Have a great one.
Peace.